Jack, I know you probably can't tell from it in the Zoom chat on Andy's computer, but
your mullet's looking good.
mullet is fucking awesome. It gets better every day.
It's thick. Like up here.
Dude, it's so long in the back. I forget how long it is. Like it's got some length, dude.
Dude, no, you need to pull it out for the people.
Get it?
Yeah, pull that out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
It's bananas.
You gotta get like racing stripes on the side.
No, I'll never get racing stripes. Paul told me not to. It's kind of disrespect to the mullet game and in the entire 1970s. I can't do it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, mullets in 1970s.
But to your point, I do need to get a nice fresh cut, and I'll get it on October 7th, day before I come back to see you guys. I'll be all lined up, ready to rumble.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing you,
I'm
man.
excited.
Going back to Great Clips?
Yeah. Supercuts, actually.
Supercuts. That's right. I forgot. Sorry, my bad.
Specifically Supercuts, Andrew. Sorry, buddy, but you're wrong.
Yeah. There's Great Clips. There's Super Clips. There's Sports Cuts.
It's a lot to keep track of.
There's Fantastic Sam's. There's what's that one? Stylos. But the most important one is Kenwood Barber.
Kenwood Barber.
Goodfellas.
Barbers.
The most important one is Kenwood Barbers, and everyone knows it. I mean, best place. The guy Paul cuts all of our hair.
We absolutely appreciate Paul. We have our T-shirt hanging in his barbershop. The OG T-shirt, the one with the big old BP logo.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. I feel like we're the only podcast ever to be hung in a barbershop. I'll say it.
I'm claiming that.
You're also one of like 3 businesses that he represents via T-shirt on the wall, which is also cool.
Right. He chose us as one of the 3.
And the other 2 are you got pretty good company.
Yeah, Lowry Hill Meats, right?
Lowry Hill Meats and the Free House, I think.
Yeah. Those are long-standing establishments here in the Twin Cities.
And so are we. We're 4 years running, going strong. Episode 284. Brother. What else do you want to hear? We are established.
Have we left a legacy? I think so.
I think we left a legacy. Jack, it was funny. We're working on this golf scramble out here in Tucson. Airbnb Catherine is trying to set me up with her country club to help market their country club to get more members. Okay. And so I'm working together with a pitch, and I'm going to meet the head of the course, and hopefully this end of this upcoming week. But I'm pitching them on a fully filmed 8-man scramble as something that we could do, and then in return I'll get film all kinds of good stuff for him to put marketing and budget towards, depending on what he needs, So get ready, dude. We're about to be golfing in the mountains.
Sweet. How's that going to get more members, though?
I don't know. Again, I got to talk to see what his needs are. It has nothing to do with the golf scramble. I'm just saying, the only way we're doing it is if he lets us do a golf scramble. That's part of the negotiation.
Hey, I'm in. Say no more.
Yeah, say no more, right? Hey, hands raised.
And you said you've gone pretty low at this course too, right? It's gettable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've shot an 85 there and an 88. It's a fun, whipping the ball, spanking the ball, keep it in play. Oh, it's great. There's a sign. One of my favorite things about this course is there's a sign as you're going to hole 7, let's say, and it's a nonchalantly placed sign outside the tee box that says, "Please do not hit balls over houses." And you're in a neighborhood, and I'm like, you're asking an incredibly wildly average golfer not to hit over your house. I don't even know where it's going to go off the tee box. You can't put that on me.
Yeah, that's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's a huge ask. It makes you super nervous. You're like, damn, is there a house in the middle of the fairway? You have to hit actually over the house. You never know.
I always get nervous on holes with houses.
Especially if they're on the right size. Because I'm slicing that ball.
Yeah.
100%. Also, I do want to take this time to congratulate Andrew for breaking 90 for the first time in his career. So,
golf clap.
Snaps for him.
Snaps. Hey, thank you.
How do you feel, man?
I think I sent out a tweet in April saying I'm breaking 90. Today's the day. And it took me all summer and then into fall golf to do it. But I worked my ass off for it. And I ended up playing like from August to the first couple weeks of September. I played 2 or 3 times a week just to like get a rhythm of like, all right, this is the swing. This is how you're supposed to swing. And like trying to get every club down. And I barely have it, but I had it enough on one day to shoot an 87. And I felt like I won the Masters. I walked off that green with like my hands in the air. I was so proud of myself.
Dude, that's so awesome though.
It was awesome. I only hit like 2 fairways all day. I was scrambling and I had like 9 1-putts. It was one of the like I grinded. Let's just say I grinded and it paid off.
It's fun to be able
amazing.
to work towards a goal and accomplish the goal. You know?
And I'll also say that, so I tweeted that out in April, and I think I tweeted out one more time probably in the middle of summer. So, and then I tweeted it out the day I ended up shooting the 90. I called my shot 3 times, and I answered the bell on one of them. I think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I will, hands raised on our Instagram, I announced it, but I put the second tweet. I didn't acknowledge originally that you called your own shot in the same day, because I think that makes it so much cooler. Granted, this is the 3rd time you've done it, but like the fact that you actually did it on the 3rd time, consistently coming back to it each time, that's what makes it so awesome. And I like the second I saw you posted that for the first time, and then I got a notification on my Grint app, which is like the app we all use to keep our scores. And I see Andrew's something at the turn, like +6 at the turn or something. I was like, kid's on track. Kid's on track. I keep close eye on this guy, on this big fella coming down the stretch. Like, is he gonna make it? And then I clicked on the notification probably an hour later because I was busy doing something, and I saw you're on 17, and you had an 82. I think you're at 82. I was
Something like that, yeah.
This guy's gonna make it. Look at him. He's a snowman's chance away from reaching his goal. Look at him go.
Look at him go.
And I parred 17 and then bogeyed 18. And then you got the notifications. This is also hilarious how the Grint works. The Grint sent anyone that's following me on the golf app that Andrew and Sarah, new low score, breaks 90 for first time. 87.
It's so amazing.
Everyone knew you were just having a great day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and speaking of, Andrew's been working on his golf game. I've been playing stupid amounts of golf. We've been changing. And Jack, I haven't seen much of you, dude, but I'll tell you what, your road trip and the things that you've done, like pretty much in the last month, I'm absolutely astounded.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten out and golfed in the last month very much, but I've been busy doing other things like driving to Yellowstone and quitting my job and starting a new job. So
what was super cool about the trip to Yellowstone, and we'll unpack this here in a bit, but you were gone, I think 2 or 3 weekends in a row because of weddings, and then you might have stayed home another weekend just to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And you got back, and we hadn't seen you. We'd seen you sporadically for a month, and you got back on a Sunday night, and you unpacked your car. You sat down in the living room, and it was Jonah and I sitting in the living room. And Jack goes, "I think I've been thinking about like taking a road trip. I'm starting the new job, and it's a lot of training where I can do it remotely. So this is like a week of my life that I may never get again. I'm thinking about just packing up the car and driving out west and hitting up national parks and hitting up national monuments." And Jonah and I were like, "Oh, dude, that's a sweet idea. Like we loved it. We were absolutely gassing him up." Then you left the room, and I don't know if I've said this, but he left the room, and I looked at Jonah and I go, 0% chance he does that. Just because like there's been a tendency for a little bit, you or get excited about something and maybe not. You're just like, I rather spend the time studying and working towards the new job. And so I was like 0% chance. And next morning I had to leave. I wasn't home, but at 11, I got back at noon, and by 11:30, Jack was out the door on his way to Yellowstone, or on his way west. And I was like, yes, dude, fuck yeah, Jack. Oh, I was sick.
Yeah, it was a super. I mean, you got me thinking. Like, it was a super busy month. Backtracking on what you said, Declan. I was home for. I was back in Kenosha for my cousin's wedding, and then I just decided to. I think I got there a week early, and then decided to stay another week, and then the riots happened, so I decided to stay another week.
In Kenosha, yep.
Yeah, so I was there for like 3 weeks, and then I came back just for a change of scenery, I guess. And her younger brother was getting married. I think it was like 2 weeks to the day that she got married.
Right.
So I just came back here for a week and then went right back to Kenosha for that wedding. Came back for I quit my job while I was in Kenosha, like right after Labor Day. Accepted my new job, came back because they told me I was starting. And then at work, I was kind of upset because they made me start right away. Like, technically my last day at my old job was my first day at my new job.
That's hilarious.
So that was kind of
no breathing room.
Yeah, exactly. In an ideal world, I would have like had a couple weeks off and I would have gone and traveled.
Going sabbatical.
Yeah, exactly. And then at my new job on the first day, they were like, all right, so you're not going to come in the rest of this week. It's all like self-study. And I was like, wait, I actually could go travel if I wanted to. I just have to do the self-studying. I can do that wherever.
You have been a guy that's known to study in any location. I've walked into you and you've been on the bathroom with like a book out and you're just studying for your, like, when you were working for insurance, you had that whole, it was a bit ridiculous, but you had that massive book just betwixt your legs on the shitter going through it studying. I was like, Jack, what are you doing? You can just study at the kitchen table and I just got to study.
It helps to change up the scenery when you're studying, you know?
Yeah.
It's good
I
for,
think it's brilliant.
I don't know. There's been studies that say you got to study in different places.
Right. Keeps the adversity, high. You're fighting through adversity.
Yeah.
Jack, I think you got to write a blog on that. Changing the scenery of studying helps you study better.
Yeah. I was just told that once and I believed it, but yeah. Anyways, I got home from my first day at my new job that night and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to drive out west. And, packed my bag the next day and did it.
And that morning, you had told me and Jonah, because we were there on Sunday night, but the two Matts didn't know yet. And I think you were like packing up the car.
Did I leave without even telling them?
No, this is how they told it. You popped into their room at like 11, right? Like as you're packing up the car and you're like, hey, Matt, I'm gonna go drive out west. I'm gonna stop at a bunch of national parks. I'll be gone for the next week. And Maddie, this is Maddie C telling me. He looks at Jack. He's just like, okay. and like Matt Heron was like, all right, yeah, sweet, enjoy. But they were both like, it was like 30 minutes notice. They were just like pumped, kind of thrown off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, very spontaneous decision.
I love it. And to Andrew's point, and we'll say it here on this podcast to all the millions of people that listen to us, you're not very spontaneous, Jack.
I'm probably the least spontaneous person out there.
That's why Andrew said it. Andrew had doubts from the beginning because your lack of spontaneity.
Yeah. As much as I hate to admit it, that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, I think you attacked your average quality, and now I'm here to hear about your experience.
Yeah, for sure. I did attack, that average quality. I learned about more. I shouldn't say I learned about more average qualities I had on the trip, but the average qualities that I do have really came to fruition. One of them being indecisiveness. Because as cool as it was to like go on a trip like that with no agenda or plan, it was also detrimental in the fact that like I woke up each morning and I didn't know what I was going to be doing. Therefore, I didn't know where to go, and I had to like make a decision every day. And I was like, there was no, I shouldn't say there was no cost to the decision, but there's very little cost to the decisions I was making. Therefore, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, so indecision really, really kind of weighed me down over the course of whatever that was, 5 days or 6 days.
Sure. Trying to plan
Well, I
out
remember
each
you
day.
calling me. I remember you calling me one of the, like, you either were on the trip or maybe it was the day before. Do you remember what day you called me?
I honestly don't remember talking to you.
Oh, well, you called me one day and you're like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this road trip. I want to go just west. And I was like, well, where out west?
This was way before the trip.
Okay.
Or maybe it was Monday, like that
Okay.
Monday night.
It had to be like pretty damn soon because the next thing I knew after having that phone conversation was like you in like Billings, Montana or something.
Yeah, that was
before.
That was before I even knew I was gonna go. I just was talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that because you brought it up and you were like, you had mentioned a few different things, and I also was like, Jack really needs to have a plan if he's gonna like go for this thing. So I just like kind of bullshitted a plan to you, like, yeah, head west, go to the Yellowstone, turn around, and make your way back another way.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what I did. My one plan I had was drive to Mount Rushmore. I looked at the GPS. Mount Rushmore is 8 hours from Minneapolis. I was like, I can do that easily in a day. Like I had just driven from Kenosha 2 days previous, which is like 6 hours. I was like, yeah, I can drive 8 hours and go see something I've wanted to see my entire life. Sure. So after I finished my self-study Tuesday morning, hit the road, and my plan was Mount Rushmore. And then from there on out, I was like, I'll figure it out. I don't know.
Did you get to Mount Rushmore the first day? Did you
So technically, no. I made it to Rapid City, South Dakota, which is like where Mount Rushmore is.
Right, 'cause it was getting dark.
Yeah, and like it was probably 8 p.m. and the indecisiveness was showing. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I didn't know where I was staying. Like, I was like, I should probably figure out like a place to like sleep before I go see Mount Rushmore. So I slept in the Walmart parking lot in Rapid City, South Dakota, that first night, and then went and saw Mount Rushmore Wednesday morning.
Gotcha. What did you pack in your car again?
I had a sleeping bag. There's a sleeping bag right over there. I don't know whose it is, but I took it. A couple blankets, clothes, 3 pillows, and a cooler.
A cooler, right.
Oh, and my guitar, which I never even opened the case.
Taking up space.
Yeah, it just took up space.
So you didn't take your toothbrush?
I packed a toothbrush and
nice.
deodorant.
Okay, good, excellent.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, it seems like reasonable things to take.
Yeah, best thing about Walmart parking lots, you could sleep in them whenever. They're like the only store that you can like anyone can spend the night, like RVs and campers and anybody really can park in their parking lots, and no one's gonna ask you to leave.
Yeah, you would not believe. I mean, granted, I was like kind of out west near national parks, but you would not believe how many people sleep in their cars in Walmart parking lots.
You had neighbors.
Yeah, I was like, the first night I was freaked out. I had never done that before. I parked like right under a lamp, and when I parked, the Walmart was still open, so I went inside to like go to the bathroom. And I walked by someone sleeping in their car, and I was like, oh, all right. Like, at least I won't be the only one.
Yeah.
And then, like, all throughout, I woke up like a million times throughout the night, like, in every little noise and whatnot.
It's kind of spooky.
Yeah, you're just totally on edge.
Yeah.
Like, thinking you're gonna get murdered like the
Right.
whole time. And I woke up in the morning and there was like a bunch of other cars with their windows cracked, like obviously people sleeping in their cars. I was like, oh, all right, this is kind of a common thing, I guess. So yeah,
That's
you
amazing.
found
Yeah,
appreciation for Walmart parking lots.
yeah, shout out to Walmart doing great things for people participating in van life or just all around huffing it.
Yeah. So if you're in a pinch, you need somewhere to sleep, find a town with a Walmart. That's my advice.
If you're homeless and you need somewhere to sleep, if you walk to a Walmart, chances are there's someone that you can sleep in their car. And that's why it gets a little spooky.
Yeah, that might be tough, but
Yeah, we don't want to recommend that.
Yeah, cut that, dude.
Cut that, dude. So you got to Rapid City the first night.
Yep.
And you had a couple hours to get to Mount Rushmore. When you got to Mount Rushmore, this was the first goal. When you got there, what was it like? Like, you're like, shit, yeah, all right, it's only took me. I'm here day 2.
Yeah.
Walking up.
yeah, I mean, so I went to a coffee shop in the morning to do my self-studying and then made it to Mount Rushmore. And like I've seen a million pictures of it and whatnot, and it was just one of those things. I think of maybe it's because you were talking about golf, but like I think the example I'm going to use is like the first time I went to a pro golf tournament. It was like, this is something I've only ever seen on TV before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so cool seeing it in person. And it's, I don't know, I love like American history and like the presidents and whatnot. So it was a cool, like patriotic thing to do.
Yep.
It was just really cool to be there and see that. I mean, the Black Hills are like, I would recommend anyone listening or to even both of you, like it's just unbelievably beautiful. It's a really cool part of the country. So just driving there, like through the Black Hills, super awesome. And that was probably my favorite part about the whole trip. Not only that day, but the rest of the trip was just driving through like mountainous terrain.
Yep.
It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best because like you are getting it to see a perspective of the mountains in a very unique way. Like usually like when you hike, it's very like specific to where you are, but like when you're driving, just like tearing through the middle of the mountains, like you get to just see so many different features, structures.
Yeah.
It beautiful green. You're playing the Eagles.
Yeah, I was just blasting music. Like
Yeah, windows down, like literally not a fuck in the world to care.
Yeah.
Or to give, and it's freeing, dude. I
Dude.
totally agree.
Yeah, it was just that was the best part. It was just driving around, like windows down, music blasting. Like it was a very, I don't know. It was a fun, like kind of surreal experience. But yeah, Mount Rushmore was really cool.
You had lunch there.
Yeah, I had lunch there.
You had a Jack Burke lunch.
The first day, I not knowing, like trying to be on a budget and like not knowing how many meals I'd get or like where I'd be sleeping, I bought a case of water and those Uncrustables.
Smuckers.
The PB&J Uncrustables.
Beautiful.
And a bag of ice and put them in the cooler that I packed.
Mm-hmm.
And I ate Uncrustables like every day.
That's amazing.
Oh, and a thing of bananas. So I sat there at Mount Rushmore and had like 2 Uncrustables and a banana and a water, and like it was just awesome.
Yeah, sign me up for that. That's the easiest. I was gonna say like PB&J, but like that's 3 different things. You can get an Uncrustables in a box of 12, and that you'll last 2 weeks on that.
Yeah.
And a whole pack of waters. I mean, Jack, that is.
It was a good lunch. Best lunch I've had in a while. I'll say that.
Wait, so you said you had a sleeping bag. Was that like? Did that end up being pretty comfortable sleeping in your car?
Yeah. So I mean, as you know, I'm on the taller end of the spectrum.
You got a lot of length. Like, call it what it is. You're 6'4".
Yeah.
He's the tallest one in the house.
It was not ideal. But I made it work. I packed 2 other blankets, so I laid on one of them for a little padding, for a little cushion, and then I moved my passenger seat like all the way up so I would have more room. and kind of laid on an angle.
Got it. So you couldn't fit head to toe, like
straight. No.
Straight, yeah.
No.
Damn.
But I was comfortable. The only thing I would have, if I ever do it again, I'm gonna bring like a pad to sleep on.
Do you have one already?
No.
No, I don't think anyone in the house does.
Oh, dude, you should have just stopped on your way on your road trip and just picked one up from one of the sporting goods stores.
Yeah, but like I said, I was trying to live on a budget, so.
Are you telling me you're never gonna road trip again and do this?
I don't know.
He has been getting hit by Facebook ads now for pads, for tent pads.
Look, they're after you, Jack. They want you to live the lifestyle.
They got him,
Yeah.
They're typing away up there.
Yeah, no, Andrew, it's not typing away up here, dude. It's just them. It's a big old puppet thing, dude. They got Jack on the fucking strings, and they're trying to make him a little puppet to go to the thing and add it to the cart and buy it, dude. That's all.
Yeah.
So Facebook ads.
It is crazy though. I'm getting hit with all sorts of like outdoor camping gear ads.
It's for sure because he was like geolocated in all these national parks. So they're like his interests in that is like skyrocketed.
It was also listening to you like just scream over and over again, I love camping. I love the national parks. I can't wait to do this again. And Facebook like heard that, and everybody in the establishment, they got like an email Monday morning, target this fucker with ads now. Hey everyone,
Pretty much
get
what
on
happened.
We got a guy who's going to buy an entire camper van in about 2 weeks. Let's get on him.
It's a nice change up from like Sperry's ads that I get like every day for some reason.
Your Instagram ads really tell you a lot about who you are. In terms of style, I should say.
Yeah.
Right, you're getting
Or who they
spook
think
hits.
you are.
Yeah.
It's funnier when you get hit by an ad that's like, you really think I would buy something like this? I'm like that much of an e-boy? Like I'm not buying that. And then sometimes I do though. I buy some dumb stuff on Instagram ads.
I don't think I've ever bought anything off of an ad online. Sorry, Andrew. But
It's all right. You're not my target market.
Yeah, you're not used to it yet. Just wait, Jack.
I usually scroll through for fun. Like I shop. I just don't buy anything.
Right. We're getting you with brand awareness stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't got you on the conversions yet.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Well, that's amazing. So how long did it take you to get to Yellowstone?
From Mount Rushmore, I think it was like another 8 hours to Cody, Wyoming, which is like the last town east of Yellowstone.
Okay.
But craziest part of my entire trip, I didn't even know it, but my cousin whose wedding I was at that prior Saturday, he was supposed to go to Italy and Ibiza for his honeymoon, and that got canceled because of COVID. So they ended up deciding to road trip, and we were actually at Mount Rushmore within like a half hour of each other.
What?
Yeah. And he saw like my Snapchat story and replied to me. He was like, "Hey, where you at?" And I was like, "I don't know, driving somewhere in the middle of Wyoming." And
Sweet.
we figured it out. He was like 20 minutes ahead of me on the highway. So they invited me to dinner with them, which I declined. I was like, I don't know, like you're on your honeymoon, like I don't want to like intrude.
Mm-hmm.
But
You're
he was
on a solo mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, where are you sleeping tonight, Cody?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like I was just gonna drive towards Yellowstone." And he was like, "Well, Cody's like the last town east of Yellowstone. Like that's where we're staying." And I was like, "Is there a Walmart there?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's a town. They have everything." And I was like, "Guess I'm sleeping in Cody tonight." And I kept driving and like plugged that into my GPS, which was like the same route I was on, but kept going. Probably debatably my favorite part about the whole trip was that drive from, I can't think of the first town, but you get off of the interstate and I think it's Highway 16 West, towards Cody, Wyoming, through Bighorn National Forest. like the most beautiful thing I've probably ever seen. Like coolest drive I've ever made. Like the sun was setting, and you're driving through. Now you're actually like before I was describing the Black Hills. Now you're actually in the mountains, and you're driving around mountains, and I think I read like somewhere when the whole time I'm doing like research, like looking up things to do because I have no idea what I'm doing, and like everywhere said like drive west down Highway 16 through Bighorn National Forest. It's like rated one of like the most beautiful drives in America or something. And it hands down was like the coolest drive I've ever made. It was awesome. Just driving, like I said earlier, just driving through, windows down, music cranking. Like I was just I had my like steering wheel in one hand, my phone in the other, just like taking pictures. Like I was like, this is unbelievable. And there's turnoffs everywhere because like they knew when they were building the road how cool everything was. So there's places you can turn off and like take pictures. But Bighorn is like the most beautiful place. Highly recommend it to anyone. So drove through that, got to Cody, like it's probably sundown. Found Walmart, set up camp, waited for my cousin. And that was really nice because that was like a long day. I had driven 8 hours by myself the day before. And then driven through Wyoming, like the middle of Wyoming. East Wyoming's really cool with the Black Hills, and then like the middle of Wyoming's just kind of wide open and like it's not much to see. It's pretty hilly, but like I was like, all right, this is getting kind of lonely and boring. And then my cousin called me, and it kind of worked out perfect. So that night, went and got beers with him and his wife, which was like it was awesome to see them and like celebrate their kind of debrief the wedding, which was very eventful to say the least. We don't have to talk about that right now, but
wow,
the fun wedding.
Did anything like crazy happen or what?
No, just like fun wedding, and it was just fun to debrief on everything. And I don't know.
Was it crazy because of what you did on the dance floor?
I did get pretty crazy on the dance floor. I will say that. The bride, Christina, she she had to leave the wedding early.
Because of you getting busy on the dance floor or what?
No, she was overserved, so that was fun.
Oh,
gotcha.
Overserved like what? Matzo sticks or what? Too many matzo. She loaded up on the apps, dude. She had like tons of bread before and couldn't handle it.
She couldn't handle the main course dinner.
Yeah,
couldn't even handle the main course.
But yeah, it was just super fun. Like, yeah, I was just got beers with those two. We went to a super cool bar. It was so Cody, Wyoming is named after Wild Bill Cody, Wild West Bill. His
name's Cody, right?
Yeah, his last name was Bill.
Cody, Wyoming was named after a guy named Cody, probably.
Yes,
Bill Cody.
Wild Bill.
Bill Cody,
like one of the guys that built the West. But my cousin brought us to it's his original hotel from like the 1800s. Super cool place filled with like old taxidermy, and there's a guy playing music in it at a little bar. But they also have this big old bar that the Queen of England gifted to Wild Bill like in 1904. Because he performed a gun show for her or something. So there's this original old wooden bar in the restaurant, which was really cool. And there's old guns and stuff on the walls. So just kind of that like old Western, like gunslinger kind of place. I don't know.
Yeah. Was that the place you sent in the Snap group and you're like, I'm staying here? This is the best place I've ever visited.
No, but that was another bar restaurant in Cody.
Okay.
That was a place by the name of Cassie's, I believe. Cassie's Supper Club.
Does this whole town look like, the Western movies where you're driving down, it's like saloon on the right and like, but I mean, now it's like modernized. Obviously, like there's a Walmart there.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But this Hotel Irma, Wild Bill's hotel, is like, it looks like it's an old place.
Yeah. Swing door.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Gotta have the swing door and like bottomless cowboy hats.
That's one thing about Wyoming that I like loved. Cowboy hats are in fashion in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like I love cowboy hats. Like I've always wanted one, but like I'm like I could never wear one because you look like an idiot wearing a cowboy hat. Even like I go to a lot of country concerts and even there's only a couple people in cowboy hats.
Mm-hmm.
But like Wyoming, like it's totally normal.
Imagine walking through Uptown in a cowboy hat.
Yeah, can't happen. You can't do it.
Jack, I think you bring up a really good point because, like, it's very easy to see through the bullshit of someone wearing a cowboy hat. Like, it's either like, oh my God, that's Wild Bill, and he's got like a revolver on his right hip, and you're like, don't fuck with that guy, and you're like, why? And it's not because he has a gun; it's because he's wearing a cowboy hat. You know?
Yeah.
And then there's like hoity-toity Jack Burke, who's like 8 beers in with no socks and Sperry's, and he also has a cowboy hat, and he's just like singing to Kenny Chesney. You're like, that kid's not worth a shit compared to the other guy.
Exactly.
You just you like nudge your friend, you like, see that guy right there, and they're pointing at you, and they go in unison. They all go, he's not a cowboy.
Exactly, and that's why I don't have one. But
Cody, you can wear.
Long story short, you can wear cowboy hats in Wyoming. It's totally normal. That was cool.
That's big time. Yeah, I feel like that's a good biggest takeaways. Jack Burke, first one, Mount Rushmore rips. Second off, it's okay to wear a cowboy hat in Wyoming. Third, it's fun to drive through the mountains.
Yeah, Bighorn. Yeah, I want to call Jack. I might start calling you Bighorn.
Jack Bighorn Burke.
Yeah, dude, that really.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Dude, I do have cowboy boots, and I was like, damn, I should have brought my cowboy boots. Like, could have fit in a little more here. Said I'm walking around in I brought my going back to the packing question, I brought flip-flops and tennis shoes.
Right, to hike.
Yeah. In my tennis shoes, I got super dirty hiking, so I wore flip-flops if I ever went out at night. So I just looked like a hippie.
That's because you are one, Jack.
Well, I was that week for sure.
Yeah, they just called you Bighorn the whole week.
Yeah, I skipped out on an important part of that second day. While I was driving by myself, I had just gotten through Bighorn, and I wasn't quite to Cody yet. I got pulled over. It's my third time ever getting pulled over. I was like, my GPS had me take a shortcut. I had got off the highway and was on back roads. And I was coming into this tiny little town with literally maybe 2 buildings in it. There's a cop sitting at the stoplight and he's talking to a guy on a 4-wheeler. And I'm I was going 100 probably a minute before this. But I'm slowing down because I'm coming into a town. Speed limit turns from 65 to 40, from 40 to 30. And I'm slowing down this entire time, coming up to this intersection, goes from 40 to 30. The cop is sitting right at the 30 sign, and I'm slowing down, passing the cop, and he pulls me over.
Ugh.
And I'm technically, yes, I was speeding, but I was on my way to going 0 miles an hour in 5 seconds.
Right.
Didn't pull the old do you know how fast you were going? You're like, yes, I was slowing down. I was slowing down.
I wasn't gonna
50 miles an hour, but I was slowing down.
Yeah, and that's clearly what I was doing, but I wasn't gonna argue with the police officer. So I mean, he was the worst part about it was he was a super nice guy. He was oh, what
right.
What are you up to? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? And I'm super nervous. I'm shaking.
Because you were telling me too that your car has Minnesota license plates,
and I have a Wisconsin license. Yes, and he asked me about that. He was like, I don't know. I thought he was referring to my insurance. He was like, "Are you still at this my parents' address in Wisconsin?" And I was like, "Oh no, that's where the car's registered." Super nervous, not thinking about it. My dumbass totally forgets that I have Minnesota plates, and my car's obviously registered in Minnesota. And he just kind of like looked confused. He was just like, all right. Like, and I didn't realize that he was talking about my actual driver's license.
Right.
So that was like strike one for me. And then, I mean, I was actually speeding. And he went back to the car, came back, and he was like, your tabs say July 20, right? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. And
I didn't know this.
So I have expired tabs too. I didn't know that. I probably shouldn't say that on the podcast, but and then I like nervously, I'm like, I know I renewed my tabs. I bought this car like September of 19, and then I renewed them in like November of 19. So like they should be good for a year, right? Like, and he was just like, I wrote you for going 10 over. It's a $140 ticket. And I was just like, what the F?
Yeah.
Granted, like, I was breaking the law, so I can't be that upset about it. But like, and I had clearly more than one violation, and he only wrote me for speeding. But it was a $140 ticket. I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was 130, the one that I got on my first day of work out here in Tucson. And then
Going like 50
I was going
over?
10 over.
Oh.
No, 10 over. The one where I was going 114, and the cop pulled me over just because I was whizzing by him, and I got Hellcat Mustang. He got me for 35 over in my court. I have to show up to court to get a sentence because it's a criminal offense. So I got to show up to court and explain my case on election day.
Good luck. I hope you don't have to go to jail for like a day or something.
No, it won't be that. It's like the lowest criminal thing, and I'm just worried how much I have to pay for this. But I'm really hoping that I can
look
do
up what
one
you
of
could
those.
pay?
No, I haven't really looked it up.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, I have like a little bit of a plan of what I'm gonna say. I kind of like. This is bad of me, but like I kind of want to just record it and just be a goofball and explain it to the best of my ability, and then we all listen to it back on the podcast.
I don't know if that's legal, but that would be really fun.
It's not legal. That's the problem. It's not legal. So, yeah, that one's gonna be nuts, dude. Like I don't know how that's gonna shake out. As of right now, like I'm a criminal. It's crazy.
So the court date is on election day. There's a good chance the cop doesn't show because he's probably he might be preoccupied with something else. If the cop who gave you the ticket, I'm almost positive this is how it is in Illinois. If the cop who issued the ticket isn't there on your court day, then your ticket just gets waived.
But I'm a criminal. They can't waive a criminal.
Yeah, maybe that's where the things get a little hairy, a little different.
Yeah.
That'd
be great if he was that'd be great if he was a no-show. But I also kind of imagine myself like going in front of a council and have to like explain why I did what I did.
When you go to court for something like that, it's one person.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just one person?
It's like you're like having a business meeting.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What should I wear?
I went to court. I had too many people in the car when I had a license for like the first 6 months or first year.
Yeah, 6 months. Yep.
And I had too many people in the car, so I got a ticket and I had to go to court. And it was like a church pews of people, and then they just call your name and you walk up to like the judge, and like it's just you and her having the conversation, like no one else can hear you. Or like if it's super quiet, it's like you hear the whispers of you, but it's like they ask you a couple questions like why did you do it? And then really I don't even think they were listening to my answers. They're like, all right, here's your fee. So it was like it happened all in like a matter of 60 seconds.
I've had a couple where they're like you go in a closed room with one other person and it's like you sit at a desk.
I've done that. Yeah, that's like the DA, right? I've had to do that one time.
The DEA?
The DA, yeah, the district attorney. Yeah. I had to do that for like an underage drinking ticket. I got that like 6 weeks before my 21st birthday on New Year's Eve. I started 2019 with a bang. Or maybe it was 2018. I forget what it was. But
I only ever had parking tickets. But hey,
No.
to each his own.
To each his own, dude. Unbelievable. I'm stoked for you, Jack. So you, was it 5 total days?
It would have been Tuesday to Saturday. So
Okay. Nice. So then, knowing what you went through and how much fun you had and how much time you spent outside of your comfort zone, more or less, just doing new things, where would you go next?
well, I would like to go back to Yellowstone. So continuing the story, the next day I went to Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I was there, and then I slept in West Yellowstone the following night, which was also crazy because they don't have a Walmart. So I just slept in like a bar parking lot, which is super sketchy. But
Yeah.
um,
This is West Yellowstone in California?
it's in Wyoming.
Still in Wyoming.
It's like, or no, it's in Idaho. Right,
Idaho's next state.
like
Gotcha.
Yellowstone is on the western border of Wyoming.
Gotcha.
So that's the first town west of Yellowstone. So that 2 days I spent in Yellowstone. I didn't see everything, but I'm satisfied with what I saw. But I would like
Did you see
to,
an elk?
I saw that first night, I was driving out west towards Western Yellowstone through a valley, and there was like a big traffic jam and people pulled over, and I rolled the window down and I just hear elk bugling. And it was like, I've never seen elk in real life before, but it was the coolest thing ever. And I look out my window and there's just elk all across this valley. So I pulled over, got off.
They're huge.
Yeah, massive animals. And everyone's like standing outside their cars. Everyone in Yellowstone is like there for the same reason you are, like just see the beauty and the nature.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's standing outside their cars, taking pictures and whatnot. And there's these old people with a big like lens, and they let me look in it, and just giant elk. And apparently 2 of them had just gotten in a fight like minutes before. I missed that, but it was still really cool to see them and walking around and bugling.
Did
So
you
that
know
was
what
awesome.
bugling was, or you had to look that up? I don't even know what bugling is.
It's just like the noise they make.
Good point.
But no, I have an uncle who's like an outdoorsman who he was in Colorado, and we were talking on the phone the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going over to whatever national park to hear the elk bugle." And I was like, "Oh, that's what I heard that. I know what that is."
You're like, I love bugling.
Yeah.
I do it every morning, once a day. Jackie bugles.
So yes, I did see an elk. Was that what you asked me? Where were we?
I asked you if you saw an elk. Yeah. So this was
That was the first night.
Yeah, you spent 2 days in Yellowstone. Didn't see everything. Saw a lot.
Saw elk. Saw bison right before that. Like, I pulled over into a parking lot because my plan was to camp or sleep in Yellowstone. You need to make a reservation. I didn't know that. So, and all the camping grounds were full. So I was like, oh, I'm really SOL. Like, I don't know what to do. There's no towns around.
Right.
Like, so I just kept driving, but I pulled over near one of the campgrounds, and there was a bison like 10 feet away from me. And I was like, whoa, never seen one of those before.
Yeah.
And then I saw that little elk story like 10 minutes after that. Like, whoa, never seen any of those before. So the whole time I'm like scared and nervous and like don't know where I'm going, but I'm seeing all these cool things. So like that was awesome.
That's sick.
What were you asking about, like getting out of my comfort zone though?
Yeah, I was just like, did you like the experience of being alone?
Yeah, I did actually. Like I said, like that first day driving, and then that 2 days after what I was just describing, Saturday, I drove the entire way from Cody, Wyoming, back to Minneapolis. It gets lonely and boring, like after a while on the road. However, being alone and going places, especially a place like Yellowstone, when everyone there is like on vacation per se. Like everyone's in a good mood. Everyone is like happy and like wants to talk to you. And I would just say like the whole state of Wyoming in general, like the people are really friendly there. But that second night, I drove back to Cody by myself after spending the day in Yellowstone and went out to dinner at the place where you saw my Snap story. Like, this is my favorite place ever. I would describe it as like a Texas honky tonk, like live band, people dancing. I just sat at the bar
Cowboy.
and like, I don't know, when you go into a bar alone, like it's so easy to have a conversation with any, like the bartender immediately just started talking to me, and then like I'm talking to the people next to me and like on each side of me. And in that regard, I really did like to be alone because I met a bunch of people and like everyone is like very friendly and wants to talk to you. Even pulling over in Yellowstone at random places, I met a guy. I pulled over at a waterfall like along the road, and I was wearing a Great Lakes hat, and he was like, "Oh, Great Lakes, are you from that area?" He ended up being from Gurnee, Illinois, which is like 20 minutes from where I grew up, and where my grandma currently lives. Like, so like stuff like that happens all the time, which I don't think that would happen necessarily if I wasn't alone. Like, sure. I feel like if people see someone alone, they're way more likely to talk to them. And I'm way more likely to talk to other people because like I haven't talked to anyone in 12 hours. Like I want to talk to someone. So yeah, that part, like I actually did really like being alone. As someone who doesn't, that was the biggest thing for me. The biggest challenge for me is I never do anything alone. I don't go to the movies alone. I don't go out to eat alone. I have said no to so many things that I've wanted to do just because I couldn't find someone to do it with. And I think going forward, I'm going to be much better at just like pulling the trigger on like going to a concert or going to a movie I wanted to see, even if I can't find someone to go with. Right. So yeah, it was, other than like driving for hours on end, after my threshold, which is actually probably longer than the average person. But like 8 hours in a car alone, it gets kind of boring. But then there's what I was describing, like being able to just walk into a random place and strike it up with a stranger is really cool, and a really cool part about being alone.
Yeah, that's why I love that the aspect of like the random bits and pieces of community is like such a it makes you have more faith in the world than what's fed to you typically. Like that you can show up to a random place at a random time in a random city or a place you've never been by yourself, and you can meet and have a conversation with someone more or less knowing nothing about them. And it's just fascinating because it's just fun. Like there's so many different things about them that you probably will talk about, or the things you bring up or whatever. It's just a very unique in the moment conversation that reminds you you are where you are.
Yeah, totally. I mean, every single person is a storybook waiting to be told, you know, and all you have to do is just, sometimes it's as easy as saying hi to someone, you know?
And it's so energizing too. Like the fact that you went up to a stranger, that person, like you're a stranger to them too, and you had a 5-minute, a 20-minute conversation, and they asked you questions, and then you asked them questions. Just like, it sounds so basic, but you spent time on a stranger. You spent time investing into someone for 20 minutes that you've never met and will maybe never see again. And it's so energizing leaving that little interaction.
Yeah, that night at it was called Casey's Supper Club. It's like what I described as a Texas honky tonk, which I freaking loved. It was so awesome. It was just their live band playing old school country music, and there's old people just dancing, and everyone knew each other. Like it was all locals, and I was like the only person that wasn't a local there, which was a little odd, but it was cool that they are all, you know, it was like a family. But 2 women walked in, and they were from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and
No way.
Sat next to them, had beers with them. One of them is an adjunct professor at St. Thomas. So like
That's hilarious.
stuff like that happens. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's just really cool to, I don't know. It's when you meet and talk with strangers, you realize how small the world really is. So that was a really cool part about the trip too. It's just having those conversations and connecting with people that previously I knew nothing about. And I mean, even moving forward, I might never see again, but just having that in the moment connection is really cool. Also helped that COVID totally does not exist in Wyoming. Everyone there is just like, yeah, yeah, it's just like, fuck that shit. Like, I'll shake your hand and not wear a mask and say hi to you.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny in Arizona. I went to this one place called Tombstone, and it's literally there's a movie made after it. One of the more recent Western film, like one of the better recent Western films called Tombstone. That movie takes place in Tombstone, Arizona, which is like 30 minutes away from here. And I went camping on Tombstone one week, and we went to eat one day, and it was the same thing. Like, there was a sign for a mask. It was pretty typical. But then you get inside, and the servers are wearing masks, but like everyone else just like doesn't even have a mask. And I'm like with mine on, like, so this is just not a thing. Then I don't have to. It was very interesting because, like, no one, like you said, no one really cares.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
I actually just watched that movie Tombstone. I was stuck on you bringing that up. It's a Western with Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott's the guy with the best mustache. And if you've seen the Big Lebowski, he's the guy sitting at the bar. The dude abides. That's Sam Elliott.
Of course, the banquet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's his voice. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's not a recent one. It's like in mid-90s, I want to say, is when it came out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the main characters in this movie of Tombstone, because they're like the most badass cowboys of all time.
Right. They're ex sheriffs.
Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday is like my boss Bummy. He swears by Doc Holliday. He says he's the most badass cowboy in the world. Bummy swears by it. I'm like, dude, cool.
That sums up Bummy to a T. You're telling me Doc Holliday is one of Bummy's idols, like Mount Rushmore guys. Is Doc Holliday.
Dude, Bummy loves to argue. I've never seen the movie, and he came after me one time because I was like, well, what made him so great? He's like, you fucking kidding me? Doc Holliday? He goes, you're gonna get your say about Doc Holliday? I was like, dude, I was just asking, like, what made him so great? What about all the other cowboys? He goes, he's never
about Wild Bill.
He had the quick. Exactly, that's what I said. I was like, Wild Bill. He goes, no, fuck Wild Bill.
John Henry Doc Holliday was an American gambler, gunfighter, and dentist. A close friend and associate of lawman Wyatt Earp Holliday. Mm-hmm. Is best known for his role in the events leading up to following the gunfight at the OK Corral. I've heard of that before.
So in the movie
OK Corral,
Russell,
that's like what?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In the movie, Kurt Russell plays Doc Holliday, and Val Kilmer plays Wyatt Earp. And Val Kilmer, he's the guy in Top Gun that is Tom Cruise's kind of like rival. I think he's like Iceman, I want to say is his nickname.
Yeah.
I love movies.
Yo, hey, guys, get your eyes on our boy Johnny Ringo. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Who's
Johnny Ringo? This is unreal.
I think we know what we're doing for Halloween.
Dude, we got to dress
up. We're buying cowboy hats.
They were running down Uptown.
Boys, look at this guy. Look at the fucking wheels on this man.
Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo. Bummy's brought up Johnny Ringo. Bummy thinks Johnny Ringo's a bitch. Clearly here, he don't look like a bitch. I wouldn't mess with this guy.
I'm not messing with any guy at that thick of a stash.
Yeah.
Dude, I would be the first out, honestly, if in a gunfight. Like, I would just be like, hey guys, don't think this is super necessary. Like, is there a solution? I'd try and play that card,
Yeah.
That begs the question. You know how things get settled in Western movies, like the quick draw, walk off. What brings you to a walk off? And for you personally, like, what is gonna get you to the point where you're gonna go go walk off with standoff? That's what I meant. Yeah, standoff with another person. Like, for you, Deck, what would bring you to a standoff?
It would have to be like one line, and I'd have to like overreact about it. It would have to be like really good. God, dude, like if he said that my mullet was fake, or that I was a fraud, or maybe if like he told me, if he called me like a spineless SOB or something, like something that that's true, but I just don't want to hear it right now. I'll be like, I'm like, I am spineless, but shut up. Hey man, want to go do a standoff? Gotcha. Oh, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's nice. Gotcha. Bang, bang, bang. And I fucking TikTok in his face, dude, after I kill him.
I'm for sure the town bookie for all gambling, and I'm going to standoffs if the guy owes me money.
Like, Andrew just killed a guy for $25.
It was 30 cents.
What about you, Jack?
Oh man, I usually get set off on things that like shouldn't set someone off.
Like when Packers fans are like, the Bears are going to stink this year. You're like, gotcha.
Yeah. Or like if someone doesn't do the dishes.
Ooh, yeah, dude. Of
course.
Mm-hmm. Yes, dude. Do a standoff
Someone
there.
doesn't unload the dishwasher, and leaves dirty dishes in the sink. That's just the double no-no.
Yeah, I would kill a man over that. I'd do it. I'd kill a man. Be like, look, hey, you didn't learn your lesson. It's always like
I told you last time.
Exactly. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not necessarily that you do it one time, but if I tell you and you don't listen and I come back and find these dishes unloaded and dirty dishes in the sink, I'm going to have to ask you to a standoff.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be, but it would definitely be something that's not worth dying over. I'll just say that.
Did they really treat death like that back in the day? Like, they're like, fuck it. I'm dying of measles anyways. Let's get this thing over with.
Yeah, right. Wasn't life expectancy like 28 years?
Oh, no, honey, don't do it. It's like, hey, wife, I already have measles. I'm going to die. Might as well die over this sports bet than the measles, That's a great point.
Yeah.
There's something there, dude.
Yeah, there's something there. I wish there were more standoffs.
I think
in general. I think
things would get settled quicker.
Things would get settled quicker.
Yo, speaking of standoffs, so I'm moving out of this house and I'm moving into this new place, and it's freaking huge. It's got a 70-foot pool, a full waterfall, just a bunch of just crazy stuff. And the guy who owns the place is like incredibly Republican, and he's throwing my first day that I'm moving in is Tuesday, and that's the presidential debate, and he's having like 15 people over, Democrats and Republicans, to watch the presidential debate. And like Catherine's coming, all these different people are coming. They invited me. I'm like, I don't want the invitation. I'm just gonna have to be there. And I'm like, this is gonna be a standoff. This is what people would kill each other over. I'm going to witness a standoff on Tuesday.
It's starting to seem like that, but needless to say, I'm excited for it.
Dude, it was so yeah. Oh, I'm excited. It was so funny, dude. I was golfing and with Catherine, my lady, and she brought a friend along who's super cool. Her name is Sarah. She uh, helped deaf and blind kids in Alaska and Alaskan villages for like 28 years. She got a crazy story, but I had just met her and we were on like hole 4, and I was just complimenting her on her shots, being a good dude. And then she goes to Catherine as I'm like teeing off, and I had overheard it as I was coming back, but she was like, "He's not a Republican, right? He's such a nice kid." I go back, and I hear Catherine like gas me up. She's like, "No, he's Democrat. He's a good kid, blah blah blah." And I come back, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not a Republican. Like, I voted for Hillary Clinton last time, and my girlfriend broke up with me." All this stuff. It was so funny. Oh, I'm just like, it's so crazy how people, they like legitimately use that as an evaluation tool. Like,
Right. That's how you get defined.
It's like, I'm like, Democrat, Republican, I'm like, I don't side with either, but I mean, for the sake of this conversation, rah liberals, baby. Why not? It's so stupid. I don't know. It's not stupid. I shouldn't say that, but it's interesting how people see it as.
People definitely put way too much emphasis and importance on the president, no matter like who it is.
Right.
It's like the president has.
This way.
No matter who the president is or what their policies are, like they play no significant role in your day-to-day life whatsoever. Like if you want to care about politics, like go find your alderman or your district congressman, your district state congressman or congresswoman, and like care about them because they're the ones that are impacting your daily life, not the president. However, it's fun to like, pick a side and
I also think it's like a perception thing. Like people, I mean, at this point, it's like more people just want their team to win. And that's who represents the country, and it's just a very theoretical thing.
Yeah.
But the perception does kind of go, I mean, global. Like if you travel anywhere outside the United States and you meet a random stranger, like a lot of them have asked me, at least I noticed this, like people will be like, "Dude, how's it like living in America with Trump as your president?" I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, but truthfully, like I don't notice a difference at all. But the people's perception of it is crazy. Yeah. Now, that was also a couple of years ago when I was saying these things. And if someone were to ask me today, like, "Dude, what's it like having Trump as president?" I was like, well, with everything that's been thrown at us this year, that's really not a good dude to be calming things down, put it that way. It's like, holy cow. But it's so interesting because people care so much about perception.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
I am excited for Tuesday. I think it's just going to be – there's just a lot of, like, theoretical things I'm playing out in my head of, like, how is Sleepy Joe going to be sleepy? Is he going to come prepared? Is Trump really going to play like a UFC match? I don't know.
Well, did you see like
Trump is just going to –
Is he going to bully him?
I think he's going to, like, bully him into submission.
Dude, he's going to make Joe admit to, like, a war crime.
I think it's going to be bad.
I was like, I wasn't even in war. And he goes, "You had war. You were at war." And he's like, "I wasn't."
And then he'll like secretly, or like not secretly, but he'll like accidentally admit to doing something horrible in the past as a way to defend himself.
Right. Exactly. I honestly think they should go out there. I would have like a weird shtick that like Bud Light would sponsor the whole event, and they should just like sit down on a couch together with their like nice suit and tie and just have like beers on either side and like, prop bets like how many beers deep does Joe get and then how many does Trump get, and just have them drink beers side by side, get a couple camera angles on them, and then just like let them talk and see how long they talk for.
That would be funny. Yeah, I'm excited.
I feel like that would be a hell of a presidential debate.
Yeah, no matter how it's set up, I think it's going to be entertaining, and no matter
True.
what happens.
Yeah, Twitter's gonna lose their mind. You always you love the presidential debates for Twitter because it's just so funny, the memes and the things that get created out of this like 1 hour event or however long it is.
Yeah.
And also it's hilarious how important the moderator is. And like people shit on moderators like after the thing. It's like, this guy hosted it like a jackass. He didn't ask blank and X, or he let off this person too easy. It's like, holy, like, what are we doing? Why are we blasting this guy? He was sitting in the middle.
I can't believe
what we were saying. People get so fired up about it. It's like, it's not even that. Like, I don't want to say the president's not important, but it's like find something more important to care about. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, it's not to say it's not important, but we're also like trying to all of us are actively trying to find what's important in our own lives. And when we don't really know what we want to do yet, or we do, or trying to do it, and we're in situations that are just unique in our own personal lives, like there are far more important things to your personal and self-interest that matter more than who's the president.
It's like you've got a job and a family and a life and goals of your own. Like you should definitely emphasize those things over politics and who the president's going to be.
Yeah.
But I feel not really the case for most people.
Yeah. Like Jack, I think you stressed out more about where you were going on this road trip and like who you were grabbing beers with this llast Friday than you did about like the global perception of who our president is next year.
Yeah, because it doesn't impact my life at all.
There you go.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah, I was pretty stressed about my, 6-iron punch shot that I had through the trees this morning versus, the global perception of this president.
Yeah, exactly. I was, I had to poop really bad this morning and I was scrambling. Like I was at the job site and I was a good 10 minutes away from a poop. And I just was like, each step gets worse. I cared about that far more than I did about the global perception of who our president is going to be next year.
There's plenty of examples.
I think we could go on. We can make a whole podcast on it, really.
Right. I ordered DoorDash for dinner from Quang, and it said 32 to 36 minutes, and at arrival time, and at 36 minutes, it said the DoorDasher is waiting for the order at the restaurant. That I had way more thought and care for than the global perception of our president.
I have to take a test tomorrow on all the things that I should have been self-studying while I was on my trip out west, that I ended up just like copying pasting the answers every day because I was like, I want to go see Yellowstone. But I have to take a test on that in the morning, and I'm way more stressed out about that than the global perception of the president.
I ordered some pair of shoes from a Facebook ad, and I was worried that they were going to fit, and I was stressed if the 9.5s were true 9.5s, or are they 10s, or are they 9s? Well, how are they going to fit? That stressed me out more than the global perception of our presidency.
I'm worried about getting killed by my boss, Johnny Ringo, Doc Holliday, the whole gang.
I call me Johnny Ringo for Halloween.
Deck, you have to be Doc Holliday and just tell Bummy, this is who you're getting.
Or Doc Holliday, Johnny Ringo.
Dude, that is such a good point, Andrew. I need to be Doc Holliday for Halloween. I need to fly back for Halloween too, dude. I want to dress up with you guys.
Yeah.
So badly.
Come dress up with us, dude.
Come dress up with us.
No, Declan, where are you going? I'm going to go dress up with my friends. And then Bobby just goes, he's always had a little bit of sugar in his oats.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go dress up like a cowboy.
Oh, Declan, why you got that bolo tie on and the cowboy hat? Oh, I'm dressing up as cowboys with my friends. That's how I need to show up to the airport when I fly in, is I'm wearing all of my cowboy attire and I have to take off every part of it in TSA. Get a different box for like the hat, my boots, my fake revolver. I bring a fake revolver through TSA, and it just freaks everyone out. They're like, "You can't bring a gun on board." I'm like, "It's not a real gun. It's a plastic gun."
All right, go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I guess we'll let that through.
You're wearing
Like,
assless chaps through the airport.
My carry-on's a saddle. It has to happen. Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
It's Halloween, silly.
Yeah, what's the update on that? We're like, has anyone talked to Matty C on how he feels about Halloween yet?
I think we're having people over.
Well, the scarecrow is already on the front porch.
Yeah, the house is already decorated.
The house has been
Okay.
decorated for about 2 weeks now.
Yeah, it's currently we're sitting on September 27th. We're more than a month out, and our entire house is decorated for Halloween. So
I
ahead.
woke up Tuesday and opened my door because, where we work, Airbnb house. And Matty C's already got his morning Joe. He's sitting on a yoga ball at his computer playing Monster Mash, and he's just swiveling his hips. And I'm like, this is I'm closing my door. I'm going.
they did the Monster Mash, and then like Matty C's big body's like the Monster Mash.
It was amazing.
It was a graveyard smash. And for anyone who doesn't know who Matty C is, we'll post it on our Instagram story. Don't worry.
Lumberjack Yogi.
Yeah, at Lumberjack Yogi. I think that's all I need to know.
He's our 6'5", 275-pound roommate.
Oh,
Who does handstands every day and is a certified core power yoga instructor who does yoga classes in our backyard.
he did one today for this morning, a donation class.
I saw that.
A group in, I think, North Minneapolis. I was pretty
Yeah, I seen that. I was explaining that or thinking back because I think he posted something like a slow-mo video of you doing the punching, like the yoga sculpt classes that we've done out in the back before.
Yep.
Like that was so much fun when we had me, you, all the roommates. I don't know if you were there the day I was there, but either way, we'd done the damn class. And you're like blasting music outside and you're just doing like the craziest yoga sculpt things. And you got our like neighbor Jacques, who's like trying to like get his day going at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and steps outside on his back porch, looks to his left, and he's got a bunch of shirtless dudes and girls in yoga pants doing just like jumping jacks and like punching and doing all this stuff to just great music. It's amazing.
It's quite the scene. And now it's happening pretty habitually. And he's probably like, at first he was probably cracking up like, oh, look at these guys. Now he's probably like, come on, again?
Well, yeah. And Jack's like, oh no, they're starting a business, honey.
The stuff that happens in this house, like, has happened nowhere else ever. Like, we've had a concert here.
Yeah, we had a concert in our backyard.
We got weekend yoga classes every weekend.
So he's doing them every weekend now, huh?
Well, I don't know.
It's damn near close.
Seems like it.
You know he's gonna get serious with it when like we have people with like a line outside our door, like getting ready to check in for the day.
Oh yeah.
For the class.
He live streamed it today.
I heard he live streamed it. And the Straight Candid girls were there.
Right.
Straight Candid. That's big news coming from the Corp. The Straight Candid podcast.
Yeah. I'm so excited, dude.
I'm excited about it. I don't think they're going to talk about anything probably that I would normally be interested in, but I'm excited about it anyways, and I'm going to listen to it anyways.
All right, we got our number one listener.
Yeah.
There we go.
I reply to their stories. I follow them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm just like, it's finally content that I'm just like, oh, this is so much fun to like produce. Like Andrew was physically there. recording their first episode, and then I just finished producing it, and I was just ear to ear smiling the entire time. Like, it was so good. And it was episode 1. It was episode 1.
They are flawless banter between the two of them.
Yeah. It was so fun to edit that. I was excited.
I'm excited for them. And for like Backpocket's sake, I'm super stoked to like finally go in and like create from scratch a podcast and know the logistics, know the, what is it, like SLP or SOP, the systems and systems. I don't know. The
systems and operations process.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Literally just figure out what it takes, because we know how we did it for ourselves, but it's been 4 years, and like going through this thing again and realizing, oh, I need to do this a little bit differently, or this is how it works like flawlessly. Because if Backpocket's going to become the Jimmy Iovine of podcasting, where we can just pump out some top of the line podcasts and just be behind the scene producers, that is my end goal. Like, that is my everything.
100%. Yeah.
I think this one's definitely going to do it. Like,
yeah.
First of all, those girls both of them are awesome. And like, they both have a ton of clout in the Twin Cities. And then just like their awesome personalities on top of that is going to like carry them, because like they're fun to interact with and listen to. Like I said, like I'm already following them and like replying to their stories and stuff, and like they haven't even released a podcast yet. Like,
yeah,
I'm super excited about it. I kind of want to ask them if I could be a guest. I don't know what I would talk about or what I would do, but I don't know. I'm excited about it.
Needs to happen. Jack Burke, episode 003 of Straight Candid, and I just want you to be in the room with him. I think that'd be amazing.
I'm gonna pitch it to him tomorrow. I'm gonna see him tomorrow.
Yeah. There you go, dude. Yeah, no, that's super cool. But to your point, Andrew, it's been really fun to like condense our knowledge of how to start a podcast into like it's take 3 months to make this happen.
Yeah, and I think to get some like things off and running, but like the real root of everything has been the last, I'd say, 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. That's a great point. Once we had found the talent and they got comfortable with wanting to be podcasters and everything, you and I had it's second nature. It wasn't like, oh, what's the next step and how do you do this? It's like, no, we're not even halfway done with the things that we need to do with this podcast, and we're like, we haven't even came across a step yet that we haven't done ourselves before.
Or have I think the coolest thing to, yeah, exactly. We come up with a problem, or the problem presents itself, and we either have the solution through what we've done, or we know someone who can easily get that done for us.
Yes.
So
yes.
Like Sophie and Sid will message us and be like, hey, we need a intro song. We need a cover art photo. And we're like, oh, we got a guy. We need a lighting in the backdrop of like the Straight Candid sign. We know a guy. It's just hilarious how they have anything, and we just say, oh, we can do it, or we know a guy. Yeah.
The first words on this episode 1, or like they give us a ton of gas, like saying thank you. And the first thing Sid or Soph says is like, we got to think Backpocket, like they basically made this so easy to record a podcast. Like, that's why we're doing it first and foremost, is because they made it flawless and easy for us to literally just show up and record. And that's exactly what we wanted. We just need to make it an environment for someone that we care about to show up and record. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm so excited, man.
It's cool. That's not something that's something that very few people can do. So you guys should ride that as long as you can.
I know. We're going to keep doing it. We got to, we have that first date podcast thing in the funnel, which we still need to figure out a good name of, but we're going to figure that out this week. Very excited.
T-Flow on Tuesday.
The Love Funnel.
Yeah. It's going to be great. The Love Funnel?
The first date podcast.
Really?
I pitched it on her last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and she got so excited. She's like,
She would be really good at that too, because she asks so many questions. Like, she's such a great question asker.
It's insane. And I think you've been up in the studio when she's been up here in the past, but like on a Saturday night when we come up here and just hang out, she can ask any question and like intense questions. Like some of them are like sex related and like kind of uncomfortable questions. And like no matter how uncomfortable they are,
She'll get an answer.
She'll get an answer
Yeah.
every time. I am blown away, and she's just got charisma, and I was like, she's the perfect host.
Yeah.
T-Flow, we need you.
That is legs. That's a good idea.
Bingo.
Yeah.
She'd be good at
absolutely. No, I'm excited to launch that one. That's like the next podcast that we're working on, which is far different than just like your typical like podcast because it's an experience that we're tied to it. So that'll be fun. And then the one that is just the most obvious podcast to do, which we haven't moved the ball forward on as much yet, but we will, is the John and Sarah podcast every Monday, hopefully.
Yes, and I actually have to fill you in something off air about that whole thing with Jake.
Oh, sweet. Off air. Andy off air.
Andy off air.
Andy off air.
That was a good way to hype it, dude. I like that. Fuck yeah. But
it has to remain off air.
Has to remain off air. Yeah. It's not something that you talk about off air and bring on air. It's completely there's no air involved actually.
Correct. There's no air. It's suction packed. Sealed tight.
It's a vacuum.
It's vacuum sealed. That's what I was looking for.
Vacuum sealed. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Glad we worked through that.
Wow. That was exhausting, but we got through it. We did. Not the whole podcast, just that one little 10-second spiel.
Yeah. But have we gotten to should we wrap up the podcast? Is
Yeah.
there any final notes? I kind of want
to.
Did we miss anything with the Jack Burke solo mission?
I mean, I only told you about half of the trip, but
right, because there was the drive back. We got the drive there. There is the drive back.
Oh yeah, was the drive back just as cool?
The drive back was worse because I didn't stop at all. I did stop for gas and whatnot. You wouldn't believe how much more expensive gas is the further west you get.
Damn.
Like gas is pretty cheap here, and it's not pretty cheap. Like it was
$3.
like the further you go west, the more expensive it gets. The most I paid was like $2.60, I think.
Gotcha.
But
What's
it
in
was
Arizona? It's like $1.89 here in places.
Oh really? Arizona's like anywhere from like $2 to like $2.30.
Okay. Yeah, so a little more. But on my way back, it kind of came full circle because I decided to make an 18-hour drive by myself. Wake up in Walmart parking lot. I was like, you know what? F it. There's going to be a party at my house tonight. I'm going to try to make it back. And I'm going probably anywhere from 95 to 100 in the middle of Wyoming. Come over a ridge. There's a cop. The speed limit's 80, but I'm probably going like 98. Immediately comes out and pulls me over, and I'm just like, 2 days after getting my first ever speeding ticket, I'm just, heart's in the ground. Like, I wasn't nervous this time just because I had been through the drill. I knew everything, what to say and whatnot. But I did know I had the expired tabs, so I was worried about that. And I was also actually, the first time I was like, this is bullshit that I even got pulled over. The second time I was like, yeah, I was definitely breaking the law there. The guy, again, super nice guy, super cool. He asked me where I'm coming from. I was like, oh, I was in Yellowstone. And I didn't tell a white lie, but it was maybe a white lie. I said I was in between jobs and I figured I'd never have another opportunity like this, which is exactly why I went.
Right. That's the truth.
Yeah. And I think that's what helped. But he came back and wrote me a $15 ticket for going 5 over.
Dude. And you were like,
and he said, do you have any idea how fast you were going? I knew how fast I was going. But I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't know. and he goes, "You were going way too fast." And he hands me the ticket. It says, "Have a nice day."
Oh my God. What a relief.
And I was just like, oh. So, I mean, I kind of got karma for the first ticket, but I really lucked out. Needless to say, though, I have 2 speedy tickets to pay to the state of Wyoming. I'd still got to do that.
Hey, you're donating. Think about just as you're donating to Wyoming as a state. You're doing what you're doing your thing. I think that ain't too bad.
Yeah.
Ain't too bad, Jack.
Yeah, I was very thankful.
So you get home. You get home. You walk up to the 3rd floor at what time?
Midnight.
And
I'm just exhausted, like delirious, like confused, exhausted.
We're having a full-blown banger.
And there's podcast studios just full of people.
Yeah, we had like 15 people or whatever in this studio just hanging out. I think Greg was playing the guitar.
So I showered really quick and came on up, and I had a night.
That is awesome. That's the perfect end of the trip.
And, hey, we walked in. Jack got a standing O as he walked up the stairs. I was shocked to see him. I had no idea he was home. I was like, Jack, it's Jack, baby.
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone. I was just like,
When's the last time you walked into a room and got a standing O, Jack?
It's been a while.
Well, I think you freaking earned it. You made an impulse decision, and you went for it, and you came back from the first time ever making an impulse decision on something you wanted to do, and you got a fucking standing ovation. Imagine what happens when you're gonna do it again. The next thing.
Yeah.
That's the thrill.
Hey, good things happen when you do what you want to do.
And I think we have to title this podcast Jack Bighorn Burke.
Jack Bighorn Burke. Yes, dude. It only makes sense.
Right, because
it only makes sense.
Since we've changed the naming convention of every podcast, it's just as the name of the guest. So like I've gone back and I've changed all of the ones that Jack just sat in, like for the back end show.
Yeah.
Some of them we came up with creative names if it was just you and I. But if it was Jack who sat in, I just called it Jack Burke.
Yeah.
So like your name has appeared probably 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
It's been a few.
Yeah.
And, a handful. And this one will separate the rest. Like, you can go back and see Jack Burke from early 2019, but you could see Jack Bighorn Burke, in September of 2020. 2 years from now, you're scrolling by. I was like, why is this one labeled Jack Bighorn?
Yeah. And someone like, there's probably thousands of listeners that go on to their Spotify app and Google Jack Burke. And then they're like, wow, there's 17 episodes of Jack Burke in this one podcast. And then all of a sudden, yeah, like you said, Andrew, you're just gonna be like, well, wait a second here. This one says episode 284, Jack Bighorn Burke. That raises some questions. And I hope to God people click on it and get to the hour 25 or hour 30-minute mark. At some point, they got to.
I think they will.
It's just simple. It was, dude, that same thing happened to me, though. I changed the episode title of the one. I think it was we were all talking about my hitchhiking experience.
Oh yeah. I saw you change the name of it.
I just changed it to Decky's hitchhike experience. I think I literally just changed it something like, or Decky hitchhikes for the first time. And you wouldn't believe how many people say that they've will message me now, just be like, dude, that hitchhiking podcast was nuts, or just whatever.
I mean, name does make a difference for sure.
It does, especially with Bighorn Burke. I mean, it's gonna be insane. Jack, also think about if you pair a blog with it. Biggest takeaways from your road trip experience. We'll put the link to the podcast in there as well.
Yeah, I was kind of brainstorming in my own head things I could do. Like ideal road trip from Minneapolis to Yellowstone, or I don't know, just a reflection on it, or I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll probably do it eventually.
Yeah, you could take it a million different ways, but I'd like to hear what it's like to say yes to a quick thought of
impulse decision.
And exactly. Impulse decision. Making an impulse decision on a road trip, and then like just walk through like what it was like, because you said there were some
Do's and don'ts.
Yeah, there was things that you like were kicking yourself a little bit with like indecisiveness.
Yeah.
But then there were so many other things that are like, oh, because I was indecisive, it put me here, and I actually had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. That I'll end on this. That was the biggest takeaway for me, on top of what I said earlier. I learned on this trip that on top of the indecision, like every decision you make has a cost, whether you choose right or left, one thing or another. The decision you make has a cost, and it's what you didn't choose, but you can't let that hold you back, because not making a decision also has a cost, and letting that hold you back is a cost within itself. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, when you make a decision, just go with it. It might not be the right decision, but you're going to find out that it wasn't the right decision after you make the decision. So it's really important to just like choose something and go with it. And let time play its course, and whatever happens. But it's super important to just make a choice and focus on that choice and move forward, and don't think about what could have been or what would have been, because you're just going to screw yourself over doing that. Which I did more than once, and I do very frequently throughout my life. But like, I think going forward, I'm going to be a much better decision maker. Not in the sense that I'm going to make better decisions, but I'm going to be more focused on the decisions that I do make.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
It does.
100% makes sense.
100%.
There's a cost to decisions, and you know that when you make a decision, triple down on it and go with it. That. Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Just go with it. I'm so proud of you, Jack. 2019 was stick your foot in it. 2020 is just go with it.
Yeah.
Just go with it. Jack Baby, the influencer, I'm also proud of you, man.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you for coming on and sharing that experience. It's beautiful.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I also forgot to say that first night I saw Badlands National Park. 110%, especially if you live in Minneapolis. Mount Rushmore is very easy to get to. Badlands are even closer than Mount Rushmore. Freaking beautiful. So cool. Such a cool place. That was an excellent end to my first night. And I was like, that's when I knew, I was like, this is why I did it. Like, This is freaking awesome. And it just got better from there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope he's still there.
Yep. He's moving.
Nicknames, but I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, dude, I think that's a wrap. I think you ended us strong, Jack. Would you say, Andy?
I think he did. He absolutely nailed it.
All right, dude. Love you guys. Take care. Jack Baby, you killed it, man. I'm super stoked to see you here soon.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you for having me on.
That's a wrap.